You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
It all comes down to this. Welcome to the regular season finale of the Circle B Diecast Superspeedway series. Tony Trapasso over the booth with you for the call on this one. As we're going to get right into it, folks. What do you say? Let's take a quick look at the point standings coming in tonight. Everybody in green is in. James Lowe, Chris Worrell, Joe Gautier, Michael Anthony, Brian Chu, Nick Wing, Tim Henderson, Ed DeBoer, Shane Posey, Jason Papp, Marcus Adams, Mark McFadden, Greg McConey, John LeBombard, and Brandon Wilson are all in. Brad Peters and Scott Warren both need to show up tonight for either one to get in. Ryan Decker does not have enough starts this season, but if we don't get 16 drivers that qualify for the playoffs, we're going to do it with 15. And that first round's going to be a little bit short. And Scott Warren is here. And even if he finishes dead last tonight of the 17 cars that have shown up tonight, that will give him enough points to move on with enough starts to jump Brad Peters in the points. Brad Peters is also here tonight. Those two guys are racing for the final spot in the playoffs. Brad Peters currently 5th on the timing and scoring chart. Scott Warren has yet to complete a lap here tonight. And for those of you wondering what we are racing tonight, it's the Gen 6 cars, the previous incarnation of the Cup car. Here tonight at the World Center of Racing is qualifying, getting ready to kick on off here in a couple of minutes. Let's take a quick look at the current timing and scoring. Austin Collins currently sits atop the pile. Chris Worrell, James Lowe, Brad Peters, and Ryan Decker rounding out your top 5 as we currently sit. So this is going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Peters and Warren are both here. Whoever finishes in front of the other, they're going to have to race this out. Now, Peters is with a 10-point lead coming into tonight. Let's take a quick look at that again. Yes, Peters has, well, a 9-point lead coming in tonight. 11 points. I'm sorry, I can math. I really promise I can. So, Peters and Warren, that's going to be the battle we're going to be watching all night long. Warren needs to finish 5 spots in front of Brad Peters. I'm sorry, 6 spots. If Peters does not lead a lap, Warren needs 6 spots. So that's where we're standing right now as the new iRacing flagger waves that checkered flag to signal the end of the practice session. Let's see who's going to be the first one to roll it. I'll give you a guess who it's going to be. There he goes. If you said James Lowe, you're correct. First one to go on pit road, first one to actually start rolling it of the 17 cars here tonight. There he is in that SimCube Camaro. And you can see the difference in this older car between this and the newer car. You can tell just by how much blade these cars had on the rear of them. They punch such a hole in the air that it can sometimes be downright terrifying when you're in traffic. Jimmy Green also rolling it. There he is, as we are going to fire off trading paints to make sure everybody's paint scheme is up to par. There is Cujo himself, Joe Gautier, and the Smokin' Joes, number 67 tonight. Dusty Burkhardt is with us. Mark McFadden, who already has a win on the season, that has punched his ticket in the playoffs. There he is. Warren is here. Worrell is here as well. Rocking a Ford tonight. Something we don't see a lot of with the, it looks like Valvoline. Yes, it is. The old throwback to a Mark Martin paint scheme on the Balls Energy number 6 tonight. I'm digging it, Chris. I really am digging it. Here's Jimmy Green, Dusty Burkhardt again here. Chris Worrell, James Lowe. Lowe is already on his flyer, the first one to take the green. You can see that he's really trying to lay one down right now. Did go purple in the first sector, as you can see on the bottom of your screen. Now, green means that they're the fastest that they personally have gone. Purple means they're the current fastest in that sector of anyone that's gone. And right now, James Lowe is going to lay the base time as he drops it down to the apron. This is only legal in qualifying. One and done for James Lowe. Going to put him provisional P1. Joe Gautier is going to cross now. Green and Gautier go 2 and 3. Mark McFadden going to be the next one to lay a time as he's coming through the trioval right now. Drops down to the apron. McFadden, third quick. Dusty Burkhardt now comes through. As Chris Worrell jumps up to third quick. There is Burkhardt, the Tennessee Volunteers Chevy Camaro. He is going to come across second quick. Gave up a little in the first sector. Was fastest in the second sector. As Ryan Decker going to be the next one to take the green. Again, 5 minutes is all they're going to be given. So if you're not out on track right now, you're probably not going to get your laps in. Nick Wing out on track. Greg McConey out on track. Tim Henderson out on track. We're still waiting for Austin Collins, Brandon Wilson, Brad Peters, Ed DeBoer, and John LeBombard to all take time. As Scott Warren is coming out on track, already trying to get that Ford Mustang up to speed. Let's check back in with Decker. Again in the Toyota tonight. McConey out on track in the 12. Should be able to get at least one lap in. He's on one right now. Should have enough time to get the first lap in. Decker's going to come around to go third quick. Let's check in with McConey. There he is in the McConey Crafting 3M Ford Mustang. Digging the shine he's got on the paint on that car tonight, or on the tape on that car tonight. Going with the chrome 3M tape. McConey going to cross second quick. Not a bad lap out of the 12. Tim Henderson going to be the next one to cross it. There he is in the 91. And across the stripe for Henderson puts him 10th quick. Nick Wing goes 8th. As we're checking with Scott Warren, as he's coming into turn 3 now, should have enough time to get this lap in. Jason Papp not going to lay a time. Ed DeBoer, Brandon Wilson, Brad Peters, Austin Collins, and John LeBombard all electing to start via their iRatings. As here comes Warren into the tri-oval. Solid lap for Warren so far. Let's see what this is going to do. Third quick for the 33. And that is going to do it for qualifying. If you're not out on track right now, you're not getting the time in. So there is that, as qualifying does come to a close. There we go. Let's take a quick look at our starting grid tonight. James Lowe going to start up on the pole with a 47.695. He's going to be joined with Greg McConey in row number 1. Scott Warren, who needs a good finish here tonight to move to the round of 16 or a win. Going to start inside row number 2. He's going to be joined with Dusty Burkhardt in the Tennessee Vols number 69. Ryan Decker, unfortunately, does not have a lot of starts here tonight. Just looking to play spoiler. He's going to be joined with Jimmy Green in row number 3. Chris Worrell and Mark McFadden, 2 drivers who've already punched their tickets into the playoffs, going to roll it from row number 4. Row 5 is going to go to Nick Wing and Joe Gautier, with Tim Henderson and Austin Collins rounding out the top part of the field. Row number 7 is going to go to Josh Carver and Brad Peters. Peters needs a good finish in front of Scott Warren or a win to guarantee his spot in the round of 16. Brandon Wilson is in. Ed DeBoer is in. Those guys are going to start in row number 8, with row number 9 going to Jason Papp and John LeBombard. 18 cars scheduled to roll it here tonight. As, again, this is the final race of the regular season. Let me just find my notes here, as, of course, my hard drive decided to not play kindly with me. As we're doing 80 laps tonight, 90% fuel fill, so we're looking roughly 30 to 35 laps out of a tank at Go Fast. Gen 6 cars at Daytona. With the sun setting as quickly as it is, let's take a quick look at the weather conditions. About 10 minutes to 2 in the afternoon in sim time. 6 mile an hour wind straight down the back straightaway. 65-degree ambient air temperature, 75-degree track temperature under partly cloudy skies here in Daytona. As the field starts to roll, we find that Ford Mustang GT500 pace car. James Lowe has the button. Geico restart zone is in effect tonight. And again, let's take another gander at those points coming into tonight. Everybody in green, they're in. They don't have anything to worry about. Brad Peters and Scott Warren. Well, and I take that back. Brandon Wilson, no, does not need to worry. He's in by a good margin. Brad Peters and Scott Warren, that's the battle we're going to be watching for us. Warren's going to start it from third, with Peters starting deep in the pack back in 13th. So, right now, Scott Warren, if he stays in third and Peters stays back in 14th, Warren's in, Peters is out. Peters needs to finish within 7 spots. Unless Scott Warren leads a lap, which it's Daytona, Scott Warren's going to lead a couple of laps here tonight. As the field comes out of turn 4, the only things left for me to say is, it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab a beverage, because it's time to get it on in the World Center of Racing. Race fans, it's showtime! Green flag is out. We are underway. Lowe going to lead him into turn number 1. He's getting a good shove from Warren on the low side. McConey and Burkhardt trying to get hooked up on the top shelf. They already got a couple of packs starting to form up here tonight. McConey and Lowe still slugging it out with each other at the front of this field. McConey with the nose out front as they haul it into the tri-oval. Give it to McConey by half a car. Burkhardt giving a good shove to McConey right now, as Warren not really getting to the back bumper of James Lowe as effective as he wants to. Still trying to take it easy in the early going here. McConey does have the nose out front. High line has been the preferred line here over the last couple of seasons anyways. Now the bottom line is the shorter way around, but you've got to have the numbers. Top line, you can keep the car wound up a little bit more, but you've got to have help. So right now, throw a blanket over your top 15. As you're about a 4-second gap back to the stragglers at Mark McFadden, Ed DeBoer, and John LeBombard. 4 seconds might not seem like a lot, but there's Brad Peters in the 5 as the caboose in this freight train at the front. There's Mark McFadden and company. Almost half the distance of the back straightaway here as McConey goes and leads it into turn number 3 as Burkhardt and the 3 of Decker trying to get hooked up on that top shelf as well. Everybody minding their P's and Q's here, just seeing what they've got, who they can work with. McConey does have the clear if he wanted to go down, but he's going to bring Burkhardt with him. Burkhardt now has the clear on James Lowe. Burkhardt's going to drop down. Dusty Burkhardt wants that all-important bonus point for leading the lap. The only problem is he's already punched his ticket into the playoffs. Doesn't have to worry one iota as here comes Decker. Those 2 dudes, racing teammates on the top shelf, really working well together. They've got their teammate Nick Wing and Jason Tapp up there with them. So this is already getting interesting here as we're working lap 5. McConey's going to lead yet another lap. Burkhardt trying to make something happen on the low side, getting a good shove from James Lowe. We're expecting this to be about a 2-stop race here tonight as they try to go 80 laps here at the World Center of Racing. Burkhardt now with a good shove down the back straightaway. He and James Lowe both have the clear. Scott Warren also to the clear. Warren going to jump up to the top shelf, make a run. That's going to suck McConey to him. Give that lap to Burkhardt by a car length and a half. James Lowe Now goes side by side with Scott Warren. As there you see Warren on the top lane. The Windsor, Ontario native needs a win to guarantee it. But definitely needs a good finish regardless. Without a win, he's got to let the chips fall where they may and hope Brad Peters has a horrendous night. Right now, Peters is the last car in this front pack freight train. Chris Worrell jumping up to the third lane. Is Jason Papp going to let him go, give him a hole to get back into? McConey and Decker pushing on each other on the top shelf. Nick Wing up there as well. Looks like Wing rocking the old Rusty Wallace belt. Contact! Wing and Worrell getting into it on the back straight. You can see the left front fender on Worrell's car, and the entire back portion of Wing's car caved in. That could have gotten ugly. Luckily, everybody keeps pointed in the right direction. Just a bump draft gone wrong going into turn number 3. McConey's got to get to the back bumper of Warren if Warren's going to have a shot. As we are on board with Warren. Yeah, Warren's around.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
Yep. Well then. Let's take a look at what happened here. It starts up towards the front. There's Warren on the top side. McConey's going to get to him, give him a good shove. Gets him loose just a little bit right there. Henderson now goes for a ride down the track. Papp takes evasive action, gets rear-ended by Brad Peters. As we see Henderson going for a ride there. What happened to Ryan Decker? There's Decker in the 3. It's going to pop off right in front of him on that high side. Keep your eyes on the red car in the outer lane. There goes Warren. Decker gets pinched into the wall, finished off by his teammate. Scott Warren blasts him in the driver's door. And just like that, we are under a caution flag here. Working lap 9 of 80 here. I would expect everybody to come down pit road just to top it off with fuel at least. Now, unlimited tire sets here tonight. As, yep, wholesale pit stops. Everybody's coming down pit side. Dusty Burkhart was the first one on. James Lowe going to have the advantage from getting that first pit box. Looks like everybody's taking 4. Might just as well. Burkhart, fuel only. Going to win the battle off pit road. And sketchy as these cars were looking, that's probably not the wisest idea. Everybody else taking 4 in fuel, as you do. A lot of guys going to have to pit farm these cars to get the damage fixed. No fast repairs tonight. But Burkhart winning the battle off pit road via going fuel only. All 18 cars still on the lead lap. Papp, Decker, Henderson, Peters, and Wing all spending an extra little bit on pit road trying to get those cars fixed. Looks like Scott Warren may have gotten lucky. Not spending an exorbitant amount of time on pit road. Not seeing a ton of damage on that car either. As we're going to take a look back from James Lowe's ride. Hardly see any damage on that Mustang of Warren's. He is going to bring it back pit side, though. As do a lot of others, just to pack these things full of fuel, as the lights are already out on the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car, the official pace car of iRacing. So Burkhart, Lowe, LeBombard, Worrell, Green, Carver, Pap, Peters, Warren, and Henderson, your top 10. Austin Collins and Greg McConey in 11th and 12th. So this is going to get interesting, as there is Brad Peters in 9th. Scott Warren going to restart in 10th. Make that 8th. Or not. Warren going to restart in 7th, okay? This is getting interesting now. As iRacing timing and scoring vomiting on me. Do want to thank everybody for joining us in the live chat tonight. Thank you so much for making this a part of your Friday evening. Let us know who you're pulling for here tonight. We'll try to highlight your favorite driver. Miss Vicky, Miss Sally, and Mary. Always good to have these three ladies with us in the live chat, as always. It's Dusty Burkhart getting ready to crank it back loose here. He does have control of the field. That Tennessee Volunteers, number 69, all the way at the front of this piece. Pace car peels on off. Burkhart leads him into the Geico restart zone.
Green, green, green.
Holds him down, rolls into the trigger. Worrell goes with him on the low side. James Lowe on the top shelf, not getting the restart he was hoping for, as Josh Carver back off of him by quite a margin. Sorry, that's Brad Peters. John LeBombard not getting the restart he was hoping for. Dropped a couple of spots. Sorry, I could not see the number in that car. Is that bottom lane already working effectively, as the 5 of Peters having connection issues, as did Austin Collins. So that is definitely no bueno. Those guys disappeared for half a lap. That's got to be unnerving if you're around those guys in the field. As here comes Worrell to the top shelf. He's got Warren with him, as they are both working around Dusty Burkhart. 3 wide coming through the trial. Good 3. Oh, that's never a good idea, especially with a blinking car on the outside. That's the 5 of Brad Peters not having good connection right now. Scott Warren, though, with the nose out front, as everybody's just racking them and stacking them. Greg McConey bails out. Did not like how sketchy that was starting to look, as Warren drops down in front of Worrell. Leaves Lowe to command the top shelf. Carver pushing on Worrell. Carver and Burkhart have always worked well together. Let's see what happens here. We've got Austin Collins tagging the wall, coming off the floor. Luckily, nobody next to him. Give the lap to Lowe. Scott Warren gets shuffled back. That is not what he was hoping for. Brad Peters up to 6. Scott Warren is back to 11. James Lowe leading the top shelf. He's got Jimmy Green pushing on him pretty decently on the top shelf. Brad Peters is the 3rd car in line in that Great Clips Chevy Camaro. Here comes Green to the inside, coming through 3. Your biggest movers right now are Josh Carver and Brad Peters. As James Lowe got a little bit squirrely there. That's going to give Jimmy Green a good run coming to the through the tri-oval. Give the lap to Green by a car length and a half. Worrell pushing on him pretty solidly right now. That inside lane working very effectively with each other right now. Green, Worrell, Carver, Burkhart, McFadden, all on that low side, as Austin Collins bails out. Now jumps back up with Tim Henderson in front of him. Henderson gets sideways, almost down into Worrell. They keep him pointed, almost down into Warren. Keep him pointing in the right direction, though. That had to have been a sketchy moment, especially if you're Joe Gautier back there in that smoking nose Chevy. James Lowe bails back down to the bottom shelf. Did not like what he was seeing up there. That is for darn sure. As Brad Peters has dropped back. Scott Warren now sits in 6th as Peters is now behind him by a couple of spots. We are on board with Warren. Let's take a look at Peters. Now we're on board with Peters. There he is in the Chevy. Warren trying to get some cool air as here comes James Lowe to the outside. Using the slingshot, coming through 1 and 2. Throw a blanket over your top 15 as that is Greg McConey as the caboose in that little freight train as he's riding behind John LeBombard right now. Ed DeBoer is about a second to the adrift. There he is. And then you're 9 seconds back to this tandem of Nick Wing and Ryan Decker. Everybody currently on the lead lap, although these two guys are losing ground quickly. So now Chris Worrell jumps up to the second lane. Well, that was a pucker moment. Green was a little bit squirrely coming through the tri-oval. Almost got up into Worrell as here comes Carver to the top shelf. You can see the rear end damage on that Mustang already as he goes out and around Burkhart. Sorry, out and around Green. Burkhart working up on the top shelf. These guys are picking them up and laying them down right now. Worrell, Burkhart, Lowe, Peters, your top 4. All on the outside lane. Scott Warren sitting pretty deep right now. He's going to have to figure out how he can get to the front of this piece. Time is run and try to come home with the W tonight. And the race for the final spot in the championship is on. Brad Peters currently has it as he runs in 5th. Scott Warren wants it. He's back in 14th. There you see Peters in the Great Clips number 5. There's Warren, one of the straggling cars towards the back end, as he's following Jason Papp around. Lowe gonna bail out. Goes to the low side, leaves Chris Worrell up there with Brad Peters on the top shelf. As Lowe, your points leader, dives down in front of the 69 of Burkhart. Tim Henderson up into 3rd as that top shelf really getting a good run right now. Oh, look, twins. Burkhart in the Tennessee Vols, number 69. Austin Collins in the Tennessee Vols, 29. Chris Worrell gets a good shove coming through the tri-oval. He's going to lead that one. Still running on that top shelf, keeping Peters in check. If Peters can lead a lap, that's one more spot Warren has to gain to try to get by him. Short of a win. See the heavy rear end damage on the 5 of Peters already. Now we are going to take the next 2 weeks off as we are not going to be here next Friday. There's a lot of people going to be out of town for the holidays. We are not going to be here on Let me double check that fact. Yes, we are not going to be here on the 23rd, and we are not going to be here on the 30th. We will be back on January 6th for the first round of the round of 16 as we take the Indy cars to Talladega. Yes, you heard me right, folks. Indy cars at Talladega, and if what they did at Daytona earlier in the season is any indication, Talladega is going to be a fun one. Have you ever seen bump drafting in an Indy car at 245, almost 250 miles an hour? We're going to see that to kick off the new year here for round one, race one of the playoffs. But we still have a lot of racing left here tonight as we're just past the quarter mark. James Lowe on the bottom side, Chris Worrell on the top shelf. Worrell has Peters with him, Burkhardt pushing on Lowe. So number 1 and number 2 in the points, running first and second right now on track. Chris Worrell got his third win on the season just last week, looking to get his fourth here tonight. All important bonus points going into the playoffs if he can do it. Now, the only other member of that team without a win is eligible for the playoffs is Jason Papp. Doesn't have a win, doesn't need a win. He's in safely on points. So this is just, a fun run for the super late model driver in the real world, normally running Volusia County down in Florida as his regular home track on a Saturday night. But always good to have Jason with us. Currently running in 10th as he's now in a 3-wide situation. 3 wide in front of him. Oh my God. What are you doing? Oh. Scott Warren trying to make his own hole up through the middle as he's in between the 23 of Green and the 67 of Burkhardt or of Gautier. Oh my goodness. Well, this has bad intentions written all over it. As he does have the clear to the top lane, going to slot in between the 23 of Green and the 29 of Collins. As here comes the 23 of Green back to the top shelf. No help for Green on the top shelf. And that's going to do it. That should be a caution. Or not. Frank Marchese asleep at the switch. Let's go back and take a look at what happened there. See Burkhardt and Warren in a 3-wide situation. Just boom goes the dynamite. Let's back that up a complete lap. As we're following along with the helicopter. Third car in line on the low side. That's Burkhardt. And you can see Warren getting a good run up through the middle. Goes to the top lane. Going to drop back down going into 3. Gets the run there. Oh. Burkhardt going to battle back. So 23 pinches down on Warren. And unfortunately, both those guys go around, and Burkhardt tags the inside wall. Warren able to kind of keep going in the right direction. And Scott Warren has put it on the hauler. So Warren out. That means Brad Peters just has to finish the race, and he's going to move into the championship 16. Right now, we still have a lot of racing left as Austin Collins gets into the wall. Boy. Josh Carver having to take evasive action. So now you can throw a blanket over your top 11 as you've got about a 2-second gap back to that tandem of Jason Papp and John LaBombard. You can see the heavy front end damage and heavy rear end damage on the one of Papp. He did get involved in that earlier crash, and that car might be starting to overheat as Greg McConey shot out of a cannon up to the lead. Here comes Mark McFadden on the low side, 3 wide with Jimmy Green up through the middle. Tim Henderson bounces it off the apron just to try to stay off of Green, as Green now going to drop down in front of the 33 of Josh Carver. Give the lap to McFadden. Now we've seen him already win once this season. Is he going to get another one? McConey and Worrell, 2 guys that are no strangers to working well with each other, both running Fords tonight. Something we don't normally see out of Worrell, as he's been in a Toyota most of this season. And as Worrell now drops down, 3 Fords at the front of this piece of Worrell, McConey, and McFadden, as Collins, the highest running Chevy, there he is, second car in the outside lane. Brandon Wilson having a solid run in the 501 Kellogg's car. Here comes Worrell battling back on the top side. Question is, how much help is he going to get from the 501 of Wilson? A little bumping and banging still happening here. We still have 11 cars in this lead group. Worrell, McConey, Wilson, Collins, Lowe, McFadden, Peters, Henderson, Gautier, Green, and Carver. And then you're about 5 seconds back to Jason Papp and John LaBombard. And then another 11 seconds back to Ed DeBoer, Nick Wing, and Ryan Decker. So we're only a handful of laps from seeing the first round of green flag pit stops, as everybody else came down on laps 9 and 10 to pack these things full of fuel. Here comes Wilson with a dive to the inside. No real help yet, as he's going to drop down in front of his Dude Racing teammate. That's Greg McConey in the 3M Midwest Motor Customs number 12. Give the lap to Worrell as James Lowe pushes the daylights out of him. 3 balls out, teammates on the top side, 2 Dude Racing teammates on the low side. Working lap 34 of 80 here tonight. Everybody's starting to get a little bit single-filed. It's, the 23 up into the wall. Just caught the safer barrier going into 3. McConey going to jump up there to work with the 33 of Carver. Here comes the 23 of Green down to the low side now. And it looks like something just happened to Ed DeBoer. Let's go back and take a look. There you see the 24 coming out of 4. He's got Wing, Decker, and the 69 of Burkhart there with him. Wing pushing on him, coming into one, just turns him, coming out of the tri-oval. All sorts of smoke. Yep, gets into the wall. Well, that's no bueno. So we are on board with Jimmy Green. Kellyville, Oklahoma native. That top 11 lead pack starting to get single filed out. That's usually the tattletale. The green flag pit stops are imminent. Here comes Tim Henderson looking to make a move on the inside. It's Brad Peters on the top shelf. The only problem is Henderson doesn't have any help. That is the very wounded lap car of Ed DeBoer on the top lane as they go 3 wide in a situation nobody wants to be in right now. Now that DeBoer has blended with the group, he can start racing them again. The only problem is he's a lap down, though he is in the free pass position by half a second. Still 3 wide, though. Laurel, Lowe, Green, Henderson, Collins, Peters, Gautier, Carver, McConey, Wilson, your top 10. Throw a blanket over all of them as Jason Papp and John LeBombard a good 8 seconds of trip from these guys up here. We said between laps 30 and 35 is all we're going to get out of a Take to Go Fast. We're already 30 laps into this run. Now they can extend that by a lap or 2 under caution. We heard a lot of guys trying to save. As there's Mark McFadden. McFadden has come down pit side. He's the first one to flinch to get fuel put into that number 48. Everybody's starting to get single filed out again. Nobody really pushing on each other yet. And if you're Brad Peters, it's got to feel like the weight has been lifted off your shoulders with Scott Warren having put it on the hauler after only 26 laps. Chris Worrell continues to show the way here as we're working lap 42 of 80, just past the halfway mark. Looks like everybody going to try to stretch this fuel tank about as far as they can get it to go. As we are 33 laps since the last time anyone was down pit road, except for Mark McFadden. He's already come down. Now, the question is, where's he going to slot out with no drafting help? That's the problem. Worrell, Lowe, Collins, Peters, Carver, Wilson, Henderson, McConey, and Gautier, your top 9 as they run stem to stern right now with the lap car of Ed DeBoer cycled in there as well. And here we go. Wilson's going to stay out by himself. Everybody else going pit side. Wilson apparently didn't get the memo. As everybody else coming down pit side, Jason Papp is going to stay out with John LeBombard. And there's McFadden right in front of those guys. Brandon Wilson, your current race leader. Going to get that bonus point for leading a lap. Doesn't need it, though. So he's going to stay out again. Now, Wilson was last in on lap 10, so he can go a little bit further than some of the rest of these guys. Papp and LeBombard should be coming pit side this time. There they come. Chris Worrell winning the battle off pit road. James Lowe going to slot into second as foreign fuel for everybody that came down pit road that time, and nobody got popped for speeding yet. Papp and LeBombard have already hit their boxes. Wilson stays out again. LeBombard got popped for speeding. Oh, what a tragedy. John LeBombard getting held in his pits for 45 extra seconds, getting popped for speeding onto pit road. Wilson now comes down pit side. This is your effective race lead right here between Worrell and Lowe. Little tandem car action going on. But they are losing ground quickly to that man who is leading that little charge between McConey, Peters, and Collins. They are very quickly reeling in the tandem of Lowe and Worrell. There's Wilson just coming out of the pits. It was a 2-second gap, now down to a 1.5 seconds between Chris Worrell and Greg McConey. McConey with 2 cars to help him out. Worrell only with James Lowe for help. And we've heard it said time and time again, especially with these Gen 6 cars, 3 cars can go faster than 2, and they can go a lot faster than 5. So Lowe, Worrell, McConey, Peters, and Collins, your top 5 as they currently sit. Josh Carver is about 4.5 seconds adrift of this group. Brandon Wilson is another 2 3/4 behind him. It's another 2 seconds back to Joe Gautier, who's got Jimmy Green for company. Tim Henderson's a 2nd behind them. Nick Wing is 9 seconds behind them. He's got Ryan Decker for help. Jason Papp all by his lonesome. Mark McFadden all by their lonesome, as that's your 14 cars that are left currently on the lead lap. James Lowe and Chris Worrell already have wins on the season. Greg McConey, Brad Peters, and Austin Collins all looking for their first wins on the season. As a matter of fact, Lowe and Worrell both have, Lowe has 2, Worrell has 3. Here comes McConey. He slingshots out, almost gets the clear by himself, and Peters didn't go with him. Give the lap to Lowe by half a car. A little bump draft almost gone wrong there between Collins and McConey. So what was an 11-car tango is now down to 5. Collins going to go with McConey on the top shelf. As McConey gets the clear, drops down in front of Lowe. Collins still trapped on that outer lane. Going to slot back in as now all 5 of your lead pack cars running stem to stern give the lap to McConey. Lowe and Worrell going to throw him the sucker punch. Go to the top shelf. It's going to hang McConey out to dry as he's going to drop to the tail end of this caboose before all is said and done. He's got to get up there and get in line as he now has to go up the hill. That's going to cost him some momentum. He's going to have his foot through the floorboard to catch him. So he is giving up ground quickly. Checking back in here with Josh Carver, Jimmy Green, the lap car of Ed DeBoer and Brandon Wilson all right there. That is 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 15th. McConey has caught back up to that lead group of 5. Carver and company are almost 9 full seconds behind this lead pack. There's Gautier and Henderson running stem to stern right now. They're still giving up time to that foursome in front of them that consists of Carver, Green, Wilson, and DeBoer. Then you're 5 seconds back to that man, Nick Wing, in the MTD number 10. His teammate Ryan Decker has fallen off of him. Mark McFadden's another 2 seconds back, but he's got some help. That's a 69 of Burkhart. Mark McFadden in the 48 is there, as well as Jason Papp in the Ace. Checking back in the front of this field. Your top 5 working very well together. Now they should have to come down for a splash and go in the trailing laps here. So let's take a look at what we're currently seeing as far as speed-wise. 202 miles an hour as they 204 as they 5, 6 as they haul it into turn number 3. Good grief, that's hauling the mail in these Gen 6 cars. Especially with as big of a blade as on the back of these things. I cannot get over just the sheer speed of these older generation cars. Solid rear axles as opposed to the independent suspension that we see on the next gens. This is the big brother to the Xfinity car that everybody loves. Checking back in with your top 10. Throw a blanket over your top 5 of Lowe, Worrell, Collins, Peters, and McConey. Then you've got 9 3/4 seconds back to Carver, Green, and Wilson, and another 10 seconds back to Gautier and Henderson to round out your top 10. Nick Wing, Ryan Decker, Mark McFadden, and Jason Papp are the rest of your 14 cars that are left on the lead lap. Ed DeBoer, a lap car. John LeBombard, a lap car. Dusty Burkhart, a lap car. Scott Warren has retired. Which means, unfortunately, Scott Warren not going to make it into the round of 16 for the iRacing E Superspeedway Series playoffs. While everybody has calmed down a little bit, we're going to step away, pay a couple bills, and we'll be back right after this.
Guys, Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
And we are back just in time as James Lowe just got turned. Let's take a quick look at this one here. You see Worrell get the run down the back chute. He's going to get to his back bumper, not be straight. because I dare say Austin Collins just broke the first rule of bump drafting, don't push the pusher. Chris Worrell was along for the ride. James Lowe out on the losing end of that exchange because of it. Take a quick look at that one again. This is what the folks in the iRacing blimp saw. You see Collins on the back bumper of Worrell. Worrell cannot stay off of Lowe. Just like that, Lowe's around. As we are going to see wholesale pit stops here. Good news if you're an Ed DeBoer fan. He just got the free pass. This is going to tighten the field back up. 19 laps to go, so you can make it from here. Brad Peters going to win the battle off pit road, only taking 2 in fuel. Everybody else taking 4. And a lot of guys getting damage repaired on. It's Dusty Burkhart, the only one that has stayed out here. Looking to get one of his 2 laps back. It was unfortunately for Dusty that issue that he got into with Scott Warren that put Warren on the hauler. It did not bring out a caution, so Burkhart unfortunately did go a lap down because of all of that fracas. So we've got 15 cars left on the lead lap here. Peters, Worrell, Lowe, McConey, Collins, Carver, Green, Papp, Wing, and Gautier, your top 10. Then we've got McFadden, Wilson, Decker, Henderson, and DeBoer rounding out your lead lap cars. John LeBombard, first car 1 or more laps down, is there goes the 69 of Burkhart to get one of his laps back. As the lights are out on the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car, thank you all so much for making us a part of your Friday evening. You're watching the iRacing Superspeedway series presented by Midwest Motor Custom, Circuit B Diecast, iRacing, iFlags, and Butt Kicker. Tony Trapasso up in the booth with you for this one. And ladies, it's always been a pleasure to have y'all in the booth with me as always. Miss Vicky checking in, Miss Sally Hammond checking in, Aunt Mary Wise checking in, Sally Hammond checking in again, Caitlin Groves, better late than never, young lady. Good news is Ryan is on the lead lap, although he is mired pretty deep. There is the Coca-Cola number 3 of Decker. But Peter's going to get that bonus point for leading the lap, going to lead us back to green, as a matter of fact. As the field comes off of turn number 4, there is Burkhart catching onto the tail end of the pack. Pace car peels on off. Peters has the button as he brings him into the Geico restart zone.
Green.
Here we go. 18 laps to go. It'll be 17 at the line here tonight at Daytona for the season finale of the regular season. Then we take 2 weeks off for the holidays. And we will kick things off on January 6th with the Indy cars at Talladega, race 1 of round 1 of the playoffs. Now, Peters can basically phone it in from here, with Scott Warren being on the hauler early. Peters and Lowe working together on that high side. McConey trying to make something happen with Carver on the low side. Peters going to lead the lap. Lowe would like to tie his teammate Chris Worrell with 3 wins on the season. Doesn't need it. He's in the points lead coming in tonight by a large margin. Peters and Lowe making it happen on the top side. 3 wide as Worrell making his hole up through the middle. Was 3 wide there for a second. Pap following him through. Pap going to drop down. Worrell going to drop down. Pap trying to get a win on this season, as is McConey. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season we'd be here at the regular season finale and both Pap and McConey would have winless regular seasons, I would have told you you were full of baloney. But here we are. And I can understand why Jason Pap has done that and why Greg McConey has done that. McConey has missed a couple races this season. And Jason Pap has been focusing on his real-world super late model racing at Volusia County in the super late model division there. As Decker gets caught in the middle, hung out to dry, as Gautier shoots up through the inside with help from Worrell. Peters, Lowe, and Collins leading that top shelf as they got Timmy Henderson up there for help as well. Gautier fading on the low side. That car does not look happy down on the bottom shelf. It's now Henderson leading the bottom lane charge with help from Chris Worrell. 14 laps to go. Everybody going to get what they can here in the closing laps. Worrell glued to the back bumper of Henderson, giving him a shove through the corners. One of only 3 guys I've ever seen on a super speedway track that I would not flinch with them pushing me all the way around this track. Chris Worrell is one of them. James Lowe is another. And who are the 2 pushers right now? Chris Worrell and James Lowe. Peters would love to put an exclamation point on this one. Let me just double check a couple of factoids here. Now here's the thing, Peters already has a win on the season. So he is officially now in. Got that win a while back, earlier in the season, then missed a few races. Did make it here tonight to get the minimum entry done and dusted. So all he had to do was take the green tonight. Scott Warren would have had to have won the race to move in. But here we go. Peters looking to get his 2nd win on the season and an extra bonus point going into the first race of the round of 16. Lowe, Collins, Decker, Worrell, Pap, Wilson, Gautier, Green, and DeBoer. Your top 10. The second lane seems to be where everybody is preferring to be tonight. You don't bog the car quite down as much in the corners as you do on the low side. Oh, baby, hang on to her.
Yellow flag is out.
Oh, Decker involved in that one. DeBoer got sent. keep your eye on the 24. There he is on the low side. Jumps up to the top shelf. Almost goes 3 wide. Oh my goodness. Let's watch this again. This is the eye in the sky. This is what the chopper picked up, folks. You're going to see it pop off in front of him as Decker and Austin Collins get into each other. There. Collins gets punted. DeBoer. Oh! Just fell 4 stories onto the roof. I can tell you the last thing to go through his mind as he hit his own eyeballs. And there's our first, thank God this is a simulator moment of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch that one more time. You see DeBoer, 3rd car in line on the low side. He's going to get pushed up. And then, ooh! iRacing physics at its finest as he caught the edge on the safer barrier, and it just vaulted that car straight up into the air. Take a look at what happened to Austin Collins here. There you see him and Decker getting into it. Bump draft gone wrong. Decker turns him back up in front of Pap. Pap punts him. And that is a lot of torn up race cars, folks. And again, thank God this is a simulator style moment. So working caution number 3. Yeah, Caitlin, that was just one of them racing deals. It was a bump draft gone wrong. Collins got loose. No malice involved in that one. Decker just couldn't stay off of him as he was getting pushed himself. But we have a ton of torn up race cars. Henderson, Decker, Burkhart, Collins all in the pits. Your biggest mover of the night is the driver of the number 5, who's going to be restarting on the outside of the front row. He's got Brandon Wilson for help up there. It is Brad Peters, currently sitting plus 13. Brandon Wilson plus 12. Jason Papp back in 6th, or 5th, I should say. There he is on the low side in the Pennzoil Nuclear Banana. Going to be restarting in 5th. Currently sits plus 12 himself. As the lights are out on the Ford Mustang GT500 pace car, the only other one to put it on the hauler is going to be Dusty Burkhart. He's decided to call it a night. Jimmy Green and Ryan Decker trying desperately right now to reel in the field. They had just come off a pit road, and they made Cole trickle the field. In Hollywood, if you're listening, with remakes and sequels starting to trickle out from late 80s, early 90s hit movies, I think we're due for Days of Thunder 2.
Green, green, green.
As green flag comes back out, Peters jumps on the loud pedal. Wilson doesn't go with him. Peter's going to drop down in front of Lowe. That's going to give that Balster on a Sim Cube number 99 a good tow coming through 1 and 2. It's Nick Wing leading the top lane charges. He's got the 33 of Carver glued to him. And that didn't take long at all for the leaders all to get single filed out at the front, leaving Gautier on the bottom lane to lead that line as they try to get back to the front. And I stand corrected, these guys did have a faster pair in their pockets. As you can see, Ed DeBoer, who caught more airtime than a skateboard at the X Games, he's got even going into 3. That car is back in top form and back on the lead lap. As we are 6 laps to go. Peters trying to hang on for his 2nd win on the season. James Lowe trying to make his 3rd win on the season. Chris Worrell trying to get his 4th. Is Joe Gautier trying to get a win this season in that Smokin' Joe's Camaro on the bottom lane. Here comes Gautier with a good head of steam. Getting a solid shove from DeBoer right now. Peter's going to side draft coming through 1 and 2. As Lowe glued to his back bumper right now. Worrell up there as well. Five laps to go. It'll be 4 at the line as the field works its way through 3 and 4. Five cars on the top side of Peter's Lowe. Okay. Make that 3 cars on the top lane is trying to get away from that lap car. Peters now trying to play both halves against the middle as he and Lowe are back on the low side. Now they jump back up to the top shelf. Peters, Lowe, Worrell, Pap, and the 33 of Carver on the top lane. Gautier leads the low side as he's got DeBoer and Henderson down there with him and Mark McFadden. They are fast approaching the very wounded Ryan Decker. Three laps to go. Peters continues to show the way. Again, Peters, I was mistaken. Peters just needed to start tonight to move into the playoffs with a win already on the season. He got it as the season opener and then took quite a few weeks off. As we were just on board with the Great Clips number 5. DeBoer has got to get to Gautier. Popsicle sticks in the air, 5 miles to go here tonight for the final round of the regular season. Lowe thinking about making it 3 wide for a second there. Peters covers him off. Gautier trying to get a shove from DeBoer down the back straightaways. Peters gets an even better shove from Lowe on the top side. That top lane coming down the hill off of 2 has a great run. Peters, Lowe, Worrell, and Pap, your top 4 as they currently sit. Pap and Peters both sitting plus 13 after starting shotgun on the field after not taking times in qualifying. White flag in the air. We are racing back to checkers. As here comes McConey and Wing trying to make it happen on the low side. Is Pap going to drop down? McConey goes up to the middle lane. Pap hung out to dry. McConey. this can only end poorly. 3 wide. There it goes. Tim Henderson gets sent into the wall. Brad Peters, though, just has to hang on for 2 more corners. As Worrell and Wing start to get into it, coming off of 4. Peters going to hang on as McConey gets yeeted. Peters going to win his second race on the season. James Lowe hangs on for second. Chris Worrell rounding out your podium. As there is Josh Carver and there is Greg McConey just crossing the finish line. Let's go back and take a look at what happened here. Let's back this up to the start of the white flag lap. There you see McConey go up through the bottom. Pap's going to cover him off going into 1. There goes Pap to drop down. McConey goes up through the middle. He's got the 33 of Carver to his outside. Side drafting down the back chute. Pap gets hung out to dry and loses a lot of ground. Does not have the draft backed out of it. Here comes Carver to the inside of Worrell. There goes Henderson. There goes the lap car, the 23 of Green. McConey and Worrell. There's Wing. Wing not lifting off of his teammate. And boom goes the dynamite. McConey catches air, comes across the line backwards, and then gets annihilated by Brandon Wilson, not seeing where McConey was through the smoke. But there is your race winner. Let's see if we can find him now. As we are going to reach out to the man who just got his second win on the season, guaranteeing he makes it to the round of 16 to start the playoff. Brad Peters, Thompsonville, North Carolina, could not be prouder at this moment.
Yeah, it was a really fun race there. Had some great help behind me there with some teammates there, James Lowe and Chris Worrell, Austin, all those guys. They worked well with us all night long, and couldn't be more proud to get one for this team in this Discord chat.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys were working very well together in the from the second half of the race on. Talk us through the opening segment of the race. Were you just trying to tiptoe it and just take it easy, knowing that you, by showing up tonight, had punched your ticket into the round of 16 already?
Yeah, tonight was at first was just trying to go, find our rhythm and try to get grouped with our guys there and have a clean race up to that point. Try not to get tore up or anything, and knowing that me personally had a win already, I was just wanting to have fun with it and try to get a second one, and if not, for one of our guys to get the win. But it worked out pretty good there at the end, obviously, with getting another win of the season.
Well, Thomasville, North Carolina, not just the home of great furniture, also the home of good Superspeedway drivers. What are your thoughts as we take the holiday off for the 2 weeks for Christmas and New Year's? We're going to be back on January 6th, though, and we open up the playoffs with Indy cars at Talladega.
Yeah, that's it's definitely going to be wild. The first race there was pretty crazy, but I think this one, already having a race under our belt, we should have a lot more understanding what those cars will do. For one thing, it's hard to pass, or hard to push rather, in those cars. So hopefully everybody's learned how to push easier, make it more of a tandem kind of thing. But I'm expecting a lot of carnage in that race, to be honest with you. But we'll see kind of how it shakes out.
All right, Brad, who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate your second victory on the season?
I just like to thank all my partners with Great Clips and Nos Energy, but also with Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, Midwest Motor Customs, and iRacing, iFlag, and Butt Kicker for all they do for this series.
All right. Again, Brad Peters, congratulations. We'll see you in 2 weeks in the IndyCars. And joining us now, the driver of the SimCube Chevy Camaro, the guy that finished second, and your points leader coming into tonight, going to lead the points coming out of tonight, but not for long, as once the season resets into championship contention, you've only got 2 races for bonus points, where your teammate Chris Worrell is going to have a third. But James Lowe, congratulations on winning the regular season championship.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Big thanks to the guys. We all raced real good this season, so it was good regular season. See how the playoffs go.
It absolutely will be interesting to see how these playoffs go, especially with the season or the playoff opener in 2 weeks on January 6th. What a way to kick off the new year! But IndyCars at Talladega. I saw what happened when you guys took them to Daytona. Talladega, the bigger, badder, younger brother of Daytona. What are your thoughts going into that race?
Yeah, I mean, if it's anything like the Daytona race, it should be real fun. I guess we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. There'll probably be a lot more opportunities for some 3 and 4 wide there, so I don't know. We might have some big wrecks, but, we'll see how it goes and try to have a little bit of fun.
Well, the good news is they did say that for the rest of the season, until we have a dumpster fire, you guys are getting a fast repair in your pocket. So that could help things out in those Indy cars in 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's no way we could run those without one because we wouldn't have anybody left at the end. So it was a good call on their parts to have that, especially for the Indy cars. And hopefully we don't have to use it like we did tonight.
All right. James, again, congratulations on the regular season championship. Who do you need to thank? And, of course, Aunt Mary says congratulations.
Yeah, Aunt Mary Alice for watching every week, and Uncle Rich out there with her watching. Everybody else that watches every week, I'm sure there's a few. And you for broadcast, and Jason for putting on the league. He has to put up with a lot, and he does a great job with it. Rowdy B, Circle B Diecast, Midwest Motor Customs, iRacing iFlag, and Butt Kicker, and the boys. Another quality run again this week, so we'll see if we can keep it up.
Absolutely. The pride of Portsmouth, Virginia, congratulations on the regular season championship. We'll see you in 2 weeks in the Indy cars.
Appreciate it.
And joining us now, the man who is going to lead the points going into the playoff with 3 wins on the season. So 3 extra race bonus points for the driver of the Balls Garanda number 6. And Chris, I have to thank you for rocking the Mark Martin tribute scheme tonight. I loved that particular Valvoline scheme when he ran it. And you had a very solid run here at Daytona in that car.
Yeah, it's my favorite scheme. Thanks to Kyle who made it for me, and for my favorite driver. So that's pretty cool to run this car.
Absolutely. But Chris, again, you didn't get the regular season championship, but you are going to lead on bonus points going into the playoffs. What are your thoughts as we kick off round 1, race 1 of the playoffs with the Indy cars at Talladega in 2 weeks?
Should be fun.
3 weeks, I'm sorry.
3 weeks. Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we're off for Christmas, we're off for
it.
New Year's, and then we're back on the 6th.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that should be fun. Definitely be one of the top races of the season, including this. It's good to drive these cars again. That was a lot of fun. The pushing was really intense. Yeah, just I hope we start mixing it up some more because tonight's race and that race will be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I mean, if the 4 wide finish you guys had when the Indy cars were here earlier in the regular season at Daytona, you guys were 4 wide at the finish. I can only imagine what the Talladega is going to do, considering it's about 4 car widths wider.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I don't think I've driven those cars there yet, so it should be a lot of fun. Should see some carnage, and most importantly, we should have a fun race.
Well, you guys definitely have 3 weeks to work on your drafting, and bump drafting is possible in the IndyCar. Trust me, I've done it, but you've got to be extra careful with, as narrow as the nose is. But Chris, who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate another podium? And you're second place in the regular season championship standings, but you're going to be leading going into the championship. Who do you need to thank for this season?
SRM for doing the broadcast. You, Tony. iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, Rowdy B Energy, Circle B Diecast, Jason for putting on the league, and everybody for showing up tonight. So.
All right, Chris Worrell, congratulations. We will see you in 3 weeks at Talladega.
Look forward to it. Thanks, Andy.
So that is our podium tonight. Brad Peters, James Lowe, Chris Worrell, Josh Carver, Nick Wing rounding out your top 5. Joe Gautier, Ed DeBoer, Mark McFadden, Jason Papp, and Greg McConey rounding out your top 10. Brandon Wilson and Tim Henderson rounding out your lead lap cars in 11th and 12th. John LeBombard in 13th. Ryan Decker, Jimmy Green, Dusty Burkhart, and Austin Collins rounding out the cars that did finish. Scott Warren put it on the hauler early, calling it a night. So that is going to do it for us tonight. Be sure to join us tomorrow as we've got a special event on tap. Let me just pull up the little factoids on this. It is the Snowball Beer Brawl, part of the Thunderclap Stock Car iRacing series, and it's going to be a special event. There's a handful of races that are going to kick off about 3 in the afternoon with 5 different cars at 5 different tracks. We are going to be bringing you the finals of that from Bristol in the trucks, but there's a couple of caveats there. Not for those that are on the wagon like myself, but if you are driving in that, you have to consume 12 beers from the time practice opens at 1 in the afternoon until the checkered flag flies at Bristol in the evening, which that'll kick off about 7 in the evening when that race starts. So between 1 and the end of Bristol, you have to consume 12 beers by yourself. I know some people who have no problem doing that, but you have to deal with 5 different forms of racing, and they're going to be kicking it off at the Chili Bowl in the midget car. That should be fun to watch. But again, join us for that race at 7 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and then Sunday we've got a full tap on score for you with the ISNF Season 4 finale for their Cup Series and their Xfinity Series. So coverage starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Time with the ISNF Xfinity Series at Nashville, and then we will kick off the Cup Series finale at 4:50 Eastern Time, again from Nashville. So on behalf of Mr. Jason Papp, Greg McConey, who are the chief cook and bottle washers here in the iRacing East Superspeedway Series, this is Tony Trapasser, reminding ladies and gentlemen that until we meet again, and as you go through the holiday season, don't forget what's important, and that, of course, is family and friends. And, check on your friends, please, because this is one of those times of year that, a lot of people don't realize just how alone other people feel. But check on your friends, please. And until we meet again the first Friday in the new year, remember, folks, don't play in traffic. Stay safe, everyone. God bless. Good night.